Welcome to Cat and Jess Talk the Best, where we're going to be talking about IMDb's top 250 movies from April 12th, 2018. My name is Kat.
And I'm Jess.
Today we are talking about number 232, The Wizard of Oz, which is an adventure family fantasy film from 1939. It has an 8.0 on 337,908 votes. The spoiler-free synopsis. When a tornado rips through Kansas, Dorothy and her dog Toto are whisked away in their house to the magical land of Oz. They follow the yellow brick road towards the Emerald City to meet the wizard, and en route they meet a scarecrow that needs a brain, a tin man that needs a heart, and a cowardly lion who wants some courage. The wizard asks the group to bring him the broom of the Wicked Witch of the West to earn his help.
Yeah. Alright, so the director, this actually had a couple different directors, but most of them were uncredited. So the first one, the main one is Victor Fleming. He also directed Gone with the Wind, which is number 157.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. It's literally the only line I know from that movie.
It's like the last lines of the film.
Yeah.
Yes, so he also did Gone with the Wind, which actually came out in the same year as Wizard of Oz, and kicked its butt at the box office. But anyways, and he also did Treasure Islands and Renegades, or some other films, but those are the three I picked. And it stars Judy Garland, a young Judy Garland.
Yes.
She's only about 16 when she did this. Frank Morgan and Ray Bolger.
And Margaret Hamilton.
Margaret Hamilton
the Wicked
as
Witch
the
of the West.
famous Wicked Witch of the West.
Still one of the top witches in all of media.
I mean, Margaret Hamilton is just, like, when you think of a Wicked Witch, you think of her.
Yeah, she's like the image that you think of first off.
Beautiful job.
So, Rotten Tomatoes. Actually, before we do Rotten Tomatoes, this has a 100 on Metacritic.
Yeah, I did see that.
It almost has a 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. The average rating is a 9.4. 99% of critics liked it, so 110 reviewed it, 109 liked it, 1 didn't.
That one rotten there.
One. Just one person. So, 2 fresh. Kate Cameron. Judy Garland is perfectly cast as Dorothy. She is as clever a little actress as she is a singer, and her special style of vocalizing is ideally adapted to the music of the picture. Yes.
Yes.
She does a wonderful job.
I mean, it's Judy Garland. Enough said.
And then Claudia Poig. The blend of old-fashioned classic storytelling with cutting-edge technology is undeniably enthralling.
Yes.
Cutting-edge technology for the time.
From 1930s.
It's almost...
You gotta think about that.
Almost 80 years old.
Almost.
Next year it'll be 80 years old. One of the only rotten, Otis Ferguson. The story, of course, has some lovely and wild ideas, but the picture doesn't know what to do with them except to be plainly literal and elaborate about everything.
Well, this is also intended for children. So...
Yeah.
Even though this movie is for pretty much everybody, but it was really directed towards children. That's why they made it literal.
Yeah.
So I don't agree with you. Sorry.
No. So the consensus, an absolute masterpiece whose groundbreaking visuals and deft storytelling are still every bit as resonant. The Wizard of Oz is a must-see film for young and old.
Exactly.
Yep.
I mean, this movie is shown at least a couple times a year on TV.
Yeah, and it's been in theaters for the past couple of years.
I've seen this in the movie theaters.
Yeah,
I was so freaking happy to see it on the big screen.
I went and saw it in theaters a couple of years ago.
Oh, I was so happy about that.
It was fun.
I think it was for the 75th anniversary.
Yeah, I think that's when I saw it too.
Oh, so
happy.
They're
doing another one for the 80th anniversary. It's coming up pretty soon.
Yes! We'll see it again.
Yeah. So the income. The budget was it actually had 4.7, so it was 2.7777 million, but I just took away 2 of the 7s, so I was like, it's the same thing. Yeah, I don't know. That's what it had.
Okay.
So, the gross in the U.S., it made $22,342,633. The gross international, $969,000. So total worldwide, $23,311,633. The all-time domestic rank is 3,167. The highest all-time rank is 441, and it did not hit that until 1982.
Probably with reshowings.
Yeah.
Putting it back in theaters. I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see. I mean, because, like I said earlier, Gone with the Wind came out the same year as Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
So that didn't help Wizard of Oz. I mean, it did decent at the box office. So it wasn't a flop.
Yeah.
Like most people think.
Yeah. But it did really good. Just Gone with the Wind did better.
Yeah.
So, awards. It won 2 Oscars, had 7 other wins, and 14 nominations. So the 2 Oscars that it won, Best Music Original Score, Harold Arlen for the music, and E.Y. Harburg did the lyrics. And that was for the song Over the Rainbow. And then it also won Best Music for the score, which was Herbert Stotthart.
Yeah.
Which I missed. I only did information about them too.
That's okay.
I forgot. I missed him. My bad. Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films. What a category.
Yeah.
It won for Best Classic Film for the DVD release on its 65th anniversary. The 65th Anniversary Collector's Edition. The 70th Anniversary Collection won the Las Vegas Film Critics Award. It is in the National Film Preservation, which is good. It is also in the Online Film and Television Hall of Fame. And Best Youth DVD for the 70th Anniversary, which is the one that I have, which is the one we watched. And then Satellite Awards Outstanding Classic DVD for the 70th Anniversary edition. And then it won the Jackie Coogan Award in the Young Artists Awards.
Now, didn't I read somewhere that Judy Garland won a juvenile Oscar for this? I do remember reading that somewhere. It'd be in the trivia, I know.
So, initial thoughts. What'd you think?
When I first watched this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. How long ago was that? I watched this when I was little first, and I fell in love with it, and I've loved it ever since. It's my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I just need to pick me up, I watch Wizard of Oz. I mean, I had kind of a rough day yesterday. We watched it today, and I feel better. I do. I mean, the singing, Judy Garland, the costumes, the going from black and white to color. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. It just feels like one of the best movies ever to me. But
Yeah.
I'm biased because it's my favorite, so.
It's one of my favorites, too. The first time I remember watching it was in, 4th grade. It was, I knew I had seen it before, but this is, the first memory I have of watching it. It was in 4th grade. We were getting ready for summer break. We had, 2 or 3 days left, so they weren't really teaching us anything. They were just letting us watch movies, and we picked The Wizard of Oz to watch, and I was just, me and my friend Quashayla, we were watching it, and she loved mimicking the lion. And that's all I can remember is her just mimicking the lion, and it was hilarious. And that's just part of the reason that I love it so much is because I have such good memories of watching it with my friend Quashayla in 4th grade, and then also just any time after that I've seen it, I always had good memories of watching it. So I like it.
Yeah, I've even in my house I have Wizard of Oz posters. I have a clock. I have mugs. Kat has toys from Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking to Kat earlier, and I was like, maybe I should be Dorothy this year. I haven't done that.
For Halloween, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I've done the Wicked Witch, because, I mean, that's just too easy. Plus, she's awesome, so.
Yeah. Alright. I think that's it.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Alright, that was your warning. If you haven't watched the film yet, you're about 80 years behind. So go ahead and go catch up. It's true.
I mean, yeah.
So, we're gonna get into it now. So you start off in, like, black and white, and it's not necessarily black and white, it's more of, like, a brownish and white
colors. Yeah, there's, like, browns and grays and whites. It's
not black and white, it's, like, brown and white.
That's true.
So you see Dorothy, which you don't know her name yet, but it's Dorothy and Toto running.
Running down this dirt road.
Yep.
She's checking on him. She's like, "Are you okay? I hope that mean lady,
Mean lady didn't do anything. Did she hurt you?
Yeah.
And all this and that. And she runs up and she's like yelling for Aunt Em and Uncle Henry, and
she's trying to tell them of what's happened. How it's Miss Gulch. How Toto got into her garden and was messing with her cat.
Yep. And she bit him, or she bit him.
that's the joke with the...
Yeah. She bit her dog. Toto bit Miss Gulch.
Yeah.
And then later, so you see Dorothy, we kind of get introduced to the farmhands.
Go Hunk, Zeke, and Hickory. Yep. Their names.
You get introduced to them. And you got to keep them in mind because
you
they
have
come in later.
They are very important to recognize their faces.
And then Miss Gulch comes around.
Well, you missed a song. No one's listening to her, and she's like, "Well, maybe something would be better over the rainbow."
Well, she's like, "Somewhere there's nowhere to get in trouble. There's no trouble." And
then she starts singing over the rainbow.
Yeah.
So then goes to Miss Gulch.
Yeah. Then Miss Gulch is coming up. She's riding on her bike.
Do.
Yep. Wicked Witch theme comes up with Miss Gulch. So there's your first hint of what's to come later. And Uncle Henry is at the gate, and that's where Mrs. Gulch is telling Uncle Henry about Toto, about how Toto bit her, and he's like, "Who?" And he goes, "Toto bit," and he's like, "She bit her dog." It was just like this whole thing of him. He's making fun of her.
Oh, he's great.
And then Aunt Em comes up to the gate and is talking to her. And then they go in and they're trying to take Toto away. And so Aunt Em and Uncle Henry are like, "We have to, like, this dog is out of control."
Well, because she has a thing from the sheriff.
Yeah.
Saying, and she's like, Dorothy's mad. She's like, "Oh, you wicked old witch."
Yeah.
Which I thought was cool.
And
foreshadowing.
Dorothy! The head shaking all.
Oh, yeah.
So then Dorothy is upset because they took Toto away. So she falls down all dramatically on her bed crying.
Yeah, because that's what a little kid would do with their animals taken away. I mean, I would do that too. But
yeah, I'd be upset if my cat was taken away.
I mean, my cats, yeah, totally.
So then Toto, you see him, he's in the basket.
Because Miss Gulch came on a bike.
Yeah. He's in the basket in the back. And he just gets out and runs on back. It's so funny. He's just, choop! Like, you didn't even think to put a lock on it or anything. You just let him out.
He literally just, like, came out of the basket and just, like, went back. He jumps through the window, too, and everything. It's like...
Yeah. It's a springy
open window.
Isn't it like a Yorkshire Terrier or something
like that? It's super cute dog.
Yeah. And then so, because Toto came back, Dorothy's like, "Oh no, they're gonna come after you again. We gotta run away."
So she packs some things in a little suitcase.
Yeah.
In her basket.
And they've run away, and they're off traveling, and they see this, like, traveling guy. I forget what he's like.
Professor Marvel.
That's it. I was like, I know his name. It just slipped in my mind. And he's just talking to him, and he's like, "Who are you? Oh, wait, don't tell me." He's like,
"Let me guess."
He goes through all these different things. You're running away. You're in disguise. Like, all these different things.
She's like, how'd you know? It's like,
well, after he's gone through 4 different options, it's not a how'd you know, it's like, good guess.
Again, remember, she's a little kid.
She's 16.
In this, she's supposed to be a 12-year-old.
Okay, at 12, I would have been like, good guess.
I know, but you're way sassier than Dorothy is.
Yeah. So, Toto ate some of the hot dogs that the man is cooking.
Yeah.
She's like, Toto, be nice.
He's like,
don't be rude.
He's like, oh, it's alright. And,
Then they go in and look at the crystal ball.
Cause she asked him, cause she saw on his sign that she's like, can I come with you? And see the crown heads of Europe. He's like, oh, do you know Annie? Do you know any? He's like, oh, wait, I gotta consult my crystal ball before I do anything.
Yeah. And then he just makes it, has her close her eyes and, like, digs through her little basket and finds a picture of Aunt Em and then uses that to turn Dorothy into going back to the farm, like, make her go home. Because he says that, oh, she's sick, she's falling down on the bed, she's clutching her chest.
He's like, oh no, she's sick, I gotta go!
So she runs back, and there's Twister.
The Twister,
Twister whooping up and whippa. That's all I remember. I can never catch that last word every time I watch it.
I just remember the part, it's a Twister, it's a Twister! And, like, all these animals are running around crazy.
Yeah. And that's the best way to do it, is just let the animals go, because they're going to have a better chance than you leaving them where they're at.
That's very true.
They'll know where to run, because animals are very intuitive about storms. So, everybody ends up in the cellar except for Dorothy, because Dorothy was, like, out running away, coming back from running away.
Yeah.
So, and Aunt Em's, like, out there calling for her, like, Dorothy, Dorothy, and all this and that.
Yeah. Dorothy, she tries to get into the cellar, she stomps on it, but she can't get in, so she goes back into the house, into her room, and she's, like, is she holding Toto at this point?
Yeah, she's holding Toto, but she lets him down on the bed.
Because she gets hit in the head. I think it was the window, right?
Yeah, the window breaks in, and the frame
hits her in the head, and she gets knocked out on her bed.
Yeah. And then the house gets sucked up into the Twister.
Yeah, she wakes up in the middle of the Twister.
You got, like, animals flying around.
With people in a boat. I mean, I saw a chicken coop.
Yeah, there's a cow. And then all of a sudden you see Miss Gulch riding on her bike.
And then she turns into a witch.
Yep, and this is where Kansas starts turning into Oz, or, as some people like to infer, the mushrooms set in.
Oh, well, this is a family joke that my brothers have. So we claim, because, you know, we're all Coloradoans.
Definitely some kind of drug going on here.
So, what we think of, we don't use drugs. We think of that when it's the black and white scene in Kansas, you know, it's Kansas, but when she goes in her, like, the Twister and everything, she lands in this colorful place, we just think she's just in Colorado.
Oh.
And that Munchkin's land is our, you know...
Also, it's like if she was in...
And so Denver would be Emerald City.
I just hear some people referring to the drugs. Like, this is where the drugs set in.
I mean, if you want to take it that way, why not?
I just think it's funny, like, everybody has their own interpretation.
Yeah. Ours is different states, but...
Yeah. So then she walks out of the house, and all of a sudden this color...
I was like...
There's lots of vibrant colors.
It was so cool the first time I saw this. I was like, bam! Oh my god, all this color.
Yeah. So, she's, like, looking around and kind of wandering a little bit. She has Toto, and then all of a sudden there's this bubble and it's, like, floating towards her.
It's a pink bubble.
The pink bubble.
Pink bubble, yes.
And out of it pops...
This beautiful witch.
It looked like a fairy.
Yeah, I can see the fairy.
I thought it was the first time, I just remember thinking it was a fairy.
Yeah, I can see that, definitely.
Because I was like her, like, bad witches, like, witches are ugly. That was until I watched Charmed.
Yeah, and then that changed that, huh?
But yeah, because even after she said that she's a good witch, I was like, no, she's a fairy.
She's a fairy.
She's a fairy.
I mean, she's got this beautiful pink dress on. She's got this big crown on, and her hair's red, which is... We'll compare it later.
Yep. So she explains that they're in Munchkin Land, and you hear the hee 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 every time Dorothy says something. What's Munchkin Land? Hee 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 hee.
That's right. And she's explaining to Dorothy what happened. That she's like, well, are you a good witch or a bad witch?
Yeah.
And
She's like, I'm not a witch at all. Well, then is that the witch? Pointing at Toto.
She's like, that's my dog.
Like, that's a dog. That's not a witch. That's a dog. And so then she explains that the Munchkins said that a witch came and dropped and killed the Wicked Witch of the East.
Dropped a house on her.
And she goes in there, and here you are, and there she is.
That's all that's left of her. It's you literally see 2 feet sticking out with the ruby red slippers and like these black and white like stockings.
And it's funny, I went to the Warner Brothers studio tour a couple years ago, and they actually still do have the stockings. They have the house and the stockings sticking out, and it's literally, you can touch them. It's literally just stuffed stockings.
That is awesome.
It's freaking funny.
That's awesome.
I thought that was awesome.
So after that, the Munchkins come out. She's like, okay, we're good. She's a good witch. It's fine. They all come out.
And then Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead, which I love that song.
That's a fun song. It's fun to play, too, actually.
Yeah.
It is.
And so they're singing it, and then kind of like in the middle of the song, the Wicked Witch of the West shows up and threatens Dorothy and Toto.
She's like, who killed my sister? Who killed the Witch of the East?
Yep, and that's where we get the line, I'll get you my pretty and your little dog, too.
I love that line.
It's a famous line. And then...
Because Dorothy gets the slippers after that.
Glinda magically pulls the slippers from the dead witch, puts them on Dorothy. Which, at this point, knowing that Dorothy wants to go home... She could have just sent her home.
No. She had to learn a lesson first.
What the fuck ever. Just send her home.
Then we wouldn't have a movie.
I know, I'm just saying, but like... If this was like a real story, you'd just send her home. Like a real, like what really would happen? But no. This is Fairyland with the Munchkins.
This is Oz.
And so, yeah, Fairyland. So we have to send Dorothy on a quest to know there's no place like home.
She's got to figure that out on her own. She's not going to just send her back just like that.
Yeah.
She's got to learn something first.
Yeah. So Glinda leaves
and tells Dorothy, maybe the Wizard of Oz will help you.
She's like, how do I get to the Wizard of Oz? And she follow the Yellow Brick Road.
Yep. Follow the Yellow Brick Road. And it's like the Munchkins remind her constantly, follow the Yellow Brick Road.
Yes. And what I don't understand is, yes, it goes in a spiral. Why don't you just walk to the other side where it just goes straight and then you don't have to work in circles?
Did you hear Glinda? She says it's always best to start at the beginning.
Yeah,
so she took that literally.
Look, you see the beginning is right here and then it spirals out and you see that. So why don't you just walk from the beginning to where it's going to go straight?
She took it literally, Kat.
That's what I would have done at 12 years old. I don't care what kind of land I'm in. If I see the beginning is here and I have to walk in circles, I'm going to walk to the straight part first.
Oh, Kat. I mean, she literally took it at the beginning, so she had to do her little spiral.
But I get dizzy easy, so I would have got dizzy walking in the circles.
Yeah, they sing her little song and everything.
Yeah.
So, I'm off to see the wizard.
Yeah.
And I was telling Kat, this took me a few years to learn this skip.
The skip, yeah.
I do know how to do the skip.
Well, I don't, for the longest time, I could not understand how those Munchkins were skipping and playing the violin at the same time. But now, I see people playing violin and, running around and doing whatever. I'm like, okay, it's just a violin thing. Any other instrument, nope, can't do that. But violins, go for it. Have fun. Do whatever you want.
Alright. Anyways, so she's following this Yellow Brick Road and she meets a scarecrow. Me and Kat were laughing at this part.
Yeah.
Because he's saying...
Not really. It's like a three-way thing. Like, it's a crossroads. She doesn't know where to go.
So the Scarecrow's like, some people go this way.
He's, like, pointing, and she's, like, looking around. What? Who said that?
And some people go this way.
And Toto's barking. She's like, that's crazy. And then he goes, of course people do go both ways. That's, like, my favorite part. I love it. He just crosses his arms and, like, nodding his head. And she's like, you did say something. He's like, well, yeah. Like, what do you expect? I'm a scarecrow. It's Mistark. And they kind of have a little bit of a conversation, and he shares with her how he can't really think because he needs a brain. And then she says, well, there's an awful lot of people that, or a lot of something or another, that they do something without a brain.
He says this. He's like, there's people with brains who do an... Oh, damn it.
I messed you up because I just word vomited it and I messed you up.
Damn it, cats. We got this. It's people without brains do an awful lot of talking.
That's it.
There it is. You messed me up.
Well, my word vomit did great things for you. So,
spewed over.
And then also at this point, the Scarecrow is No, which one is he?
It's Hunk.
Huck? Okay, that's what
it's actually Hunk.
Yeah, Hunk. So the Scarecrow is Hunk. He is the first character besides the Wicked Witch that you see from the farm, from Kansas, in the Land of Oz. Which is your first kind of hint that it's a dream, but also not a dream.
So anyways, talking about... So he's singing their song. He sings this song, of course, This song is actually repeated, like, throughout the movie, but changed for each character.
Yep.
So his is Brain.
Need a brain. And, so then she invites him to come with her to the Emerald City to see if the wizard will give him a brain. And so they're off.
And he goes skipping off down the Yellow Brick Road.
The trees.
The trees
The
that
apple trees.
they like to
Throw apples at people.
Yeah. Well, maybe they start picking things off them.
Yeah. Like, how would you feel if somebody came and picked things off you?
Makes a good point.
Yeah.
I mean,
it depends on what it is, because there's some people that, like Dana, she does come pick things off of me. Like, if I have a hair on my arm and she sees it, she comes and picks it off.
well, that's fine. Random, hairs, but...
Yeah, because those are annoying. But I feel like if I had apples hanging off my arms, I'd be real upset.
Yeah, same. Agreed. So, they try, because Dorothy's hungry, so they're getting apples, and the trees are throwing apples at them.
Yep, because Scarecrow, proving he doesn't need a brain, says, I'll show you how to get apples, and he's yelling at the trees that there's worms in their apples, and they're not good apples, and all this and that, and they're throwing even more apples, so they're picking up the apples, and as Dorothy's picking up the apples, she comes across this metal foot, and she knocks on it, and looks up and up and up, and it's a Tin Man.
Tin Man holding it's an axe.
Yep, holding an axe up, and he's frozen,
he's rusted.
Rusted, but in my mind, that's not what something rusted looks like, because I lived in the country and we left a lot of metal stuff out, and something rusted is completely reddish brown.
It is.
So that's the only thing that I'm no, that doesn't work. But I understand why they made him the silver, is because he's the Tin Man.
Yeah, because I think with there was
probably
some
reddish brown in there,
in his arms and his neck and his
yeah.
face. There's a little bit that you can see that there was some rust.
Yep. And so he's like,
what is he saying? They're like, oil can. Okay, got it. And they found this oil can right next to him. And they ask him, well, what do you want oiled first? And he's
obviously his mouth.
His mouth, so he can talk to you. So they.
Except for I would have done his arm first, because you're holding up that axe forever.
Yes.
You finally get to let it go.
That was the second thing.
That's what I would have done first.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm a little bit. Yeah, yeah. So, the Tin Man, they get him all undone, and he's starting to sing his song.
He's talking about he wants a heart.
Yep, he needs a heart because the Tin tinsman forgot to give him a heart. And he is from the farm. He is what's his name?
Oh, Hickory.
Hickory, that's it. I always forget their real names instead of their
I wrote it
Oz
down
names.
too.
Oh, I didn't write it down. I just wrote Tin Man and Lion and Scarecrow.
I helped write the names down because we help each other out quite a bit.
And the one thing that I really like about the Scarecrow and the Tin Man acting is how they walk.
Oh,
they
yeah,
portray
definitely.
their characters so well.
Like
the Scarecrow is constantly falling, and
Always falling.
when they're walking, Dorothy's just constantly picking them back up. Yeah. And it's so funny because the actor, he does it so well because that actor is probably like maybe 10 years, if not more, older than Judy Garland was at that time. And she just like, he does it so flawlessly that she can just like barely pull on his collar and he stands up like she's pulling him up.
Yeah, because the Scarecrow is light.
Yeah. So
and a child could pick up a Scarecrow easily.
Yeah, he does it perfectly. He does it really well.
Very true. And the Tin Man, he kind of walks kind of stiff, like, because he's made of tin. Can't really bend knees very well, so. Great job with the walking. You're right.
And then, so they're inviting the Tin Man to come with them to Oz so he can ask the wizard for a heart to the Emerald City, to ask the Wizard of Oz for a heart. And then the
Wicked Witch shows up.
And she's like, you haven't really gone that far, and it's not a long journey. And she throws a fireball at the Scarecrow. And Tin Man, like, gets down, and he, like, awkwardly gets down in his Tin Man way and smacks his hat on it, and the fire just goes out. And, as they are leaving, this is where the rumor of the dead Munchkin, there was a rumor, for the longest time, that there was a Munchkin on set that hung himself.
It is not true.
It's not true. In the more recent versions, they
really emphasize that it was...
Yeah, they make sure that you can actually see. There's a crane walking around in this entire scene, and as they're skipping out, the crane, like, waves his wings because they're getting too close to him, is what it is.
Yeah, it stretches it out, so...
And
that's what
in
that
the older versions, like the VHS version, it definitely, you can't tell what it is. It just looked like there's something back there swinging.
It really couldn't tell because it's dark back there.
Because it's one of those long neck cranes, not like a little crane. No. One of those long neck ones with big wings, and he's like waving his wings with his neck super stretched out, so that's what it looks like. So that's always never been true. It's just a rumor.
Yes.
But that's something that we were talking about at that point.
Yeah. So they all go off, and then they go deeper in the forest.
Into the dark, scary part of the forest.
The lions and tigers and bears.
Oh my.
I've counted it. They say it 5 times.
Yes. And then the lion comes up.
I love the lion.
He's so
honestly. Funny. Oh, he's one of my favorites.
And he is, what's his name?
It's the Cowardly Lion.
No.
Oh, from the farm, he had Zeke.
Zeke. Okay, so, yep. We have Scarecrow is Buck.
Huck.
Sorry.
Hunk.
Scarecrow is Huck. Tin Man is Hickory. And the lion is Zeke.
Yes.
So that is them from the other world. And so the lion comes up and he is like, put him up, trying to fight Scarecrow and the Tin Man. And they're both down on the ground shaking. And he like turns, he's like, trying to pull an X on me, eh? He's trying to sneak up on me, eh?
That made me laugh so hard.
And then Toto starts barking at him and he's like, I'm gonna get you, Pee-wee.
Oh, yeah.
Chases him.
And Dorothy picks up Toto and she like smacks the lion on the nose.
Yeah,
I laughed so hard at that part.
Tip of her fingers gets
like,
the tip
smack.
of his nose. And it's like when you flick a dog on its nose, that's what I imagine
what it is.
He's just like, what'd you go and do that for? And he starts bawling.
What'd you go do that?
And she's like, you're nothing but a big old coward. And he's like, you're right. And he's like dabbing his tail in his eyes so that he can dry his tears. And then they invite the lion with them to go see the wizard in the Emerald City to see if they can give him some courage because he wants to be the rightful king of the forest.
Yes.
And he hasn't slept in weeks because he's afraid of the sheep. So you can't count them.
Nope, can't count sheep. Afraid of them.
So then they're off again. And then you see the Wicked Witch. She's trying to figure out how to slow them down and stop them from getting to the Emerald City. So she makes up her potion type thingy.
And she goes, poppies. Poppies will put them to sleep.
And
I love that.
isn't it poppies that are like something to do with like they're a death flower or something like that? Isn't that what it is?
Poppies are it's where you get a lot of your drugs from.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah, that's it. I
opium.
knew it was something. There's one of them. There's something that's a death flower, and then there's the other one that's like a drug.
That's poppies.
That's why you can't have poppy seed muffins, lemon poppy seed muffins before a drug test.
Yeah, they got that quality in them. That's where you can get like your opium from. You can get it from poppies.
Okay, because I knew it was one or the other.
Yeah, so I was like, ha, nice.
So then the four of them come up on this big, huge field of poppies. And
He was the puppies.
I did say puppies. So, and then on the other side of the field of the puppies is the Emerald City. And, like, there's the Emerald City, it's so beautiful!
And so they want to run to it.
Yep, they're running through. And it's so funny, like, the Tin Man and the Scarecrow are gone, and you just see Dorothy and Toto and the lion. Well, you didn't even really see Toto because the flowers are taller than him, but you see the Cowardly Lion and Dorothy, they're, like, slowing down. And it's so funny because it's, like, the Cowardly Lion's, like, running in slow-mo. He's, like, barely moving his arms, and then he just kind of...
He's like, ugh.
He's like, you know, come to think of it, 40 winks wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah, because Dorothy...
falls over.
He falls over. Dorothy's, like, falls over, too, because she's so sleepy.
Yeah.
And Toto's already out.
And it's so funny the way the lion falls. It's like my cat when he just, like, plops himself down. He's like... just, like, plops himself over.
Oh, my God. You people should have seen this. That was funny.
I did a really good impression of my cat. The Tin Man starts crying, which he's showing that he does have a heart because
He cries for
crying.
everything.
And Scarecrow again is showing that he has brains because he's like, we gotta figure out a way to get him over there. And all
He's like, help me pick up Dorothy. When they try to pick up Dorothy, it doesn't really work that well. And they start yelling for help.
help! Help!
And then, like,
why are you screaming at a time like this?
I love that line. And then, so, like, this, like, snow comes down, because Glinda hears them, and she's, like, does, like, this...
Yeah, does her magic.
And the snow comes down and wakes up Dorothy
and the Tin
Toto,
Man is frozen. He's, like, wiping his eye as he's rusted. He's, like, he's wiping his eye and he's frozen. Or rusted, I mean.
Yep. So they got him.
Yep, they wake up.
You gotta make sure he's all oiled up again.
Yep,
they're
they
good.
oil him up, and then they head on to the Emerald City.
And they have to knock on the door.
Well, they ring the doorbell.
They ring the doorbell first.
And the guard at the gate comes out. He's like, "Who rang that bell?"
They're like, "We did. Didn't you read the sign?"
What sign?
And then he's like, "Oh, there's not a sign."
Oh.
And he puts a sign up and then closes the little hatch that he came through.
And so they knock on the door. And he says something, well, that's more like it. And then they're like, we want to see the wizard. I'm like, well, that's it. And then they're like, why should I let you in to see the wizard and stuff like that? And he's like, well, I have the ruby slippers. Well, that's a horse of a different color. Come on in.
Yep, they come in and there's this guy with a driving. He's got a horse and a carriage.
Yep, horse and carriage.
He's like, oh, let me take you to get all cleaned up. And then you see this horse. And it's like...
It's a white horse at first.
A white horse at first when you first see him.
Technically it's not a white horse. That's just... Because if a horse is actually white, its nose would be white, but its nose is brown. Or like black. So it's not technically a white horse. It's just its fur is white. It's not white underneath.
Yeah. Because it's white first.
Yeah, it's a white horse.
And then it changes to purple.
I do have a trivia about that. Yeah. How they changed his colors. Because they changed... He's red and purple and yellow. And then he's...
It's white, purple, red, yellow, in that order.
Okay, and then we don't see him again. But they use Jello crystals to change his color.
Yep.
To change the color of him.
That's true. So they get all cleaned up and they're singing like this song. It's called The Merry Old Land of Oz.
Ha ha ha, ho ho ho. So do 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 do. That's all I know.
Yeah. They get all
If
cleaned up.
the movie is on, I can sing with it. But if it's not on, I'm like, that's the only words I know. I do know that they wake up at noon, go to work at 1, take an hour for lunch, and at 2 they're done.
I'm like, wow.
Like, that's a great day. I want to do that.
That sounds like an awesome
But it's so
day.
funny because some of them are actually working. Like, they're stuffing, and he's pulling the carriage, and they're shining, and...
Yeah.
Because they take Dorothy and the Lion and the Tin Man and the Scarecrow to get cleaned up.
Cleaned up,
Before seeing...
Like, Scarecrow gets stuffed with new straw. I mean, Tin Man gets polished
It's
up.
funny. On the Scarecrow, they have X, double X, and
Yes.
super X.
I was like, nice. Nice.
Thought that was funny.
They fix Dorothy up, and
Uh-huh.
even the Lion.
And he's like, I got a perm.
He's like curls galore in his mane. It's
His hair looks like Glinda's.
yeah, kind of. And then, like, after, like, the song gets interrupted because there's writing in the sky because the Wicked Witch writes in the sky, surrender, Dorothy.
Yeah.
They're like,
and
who's
it's kind
Dorothy?
of funny if you look close enough, you can see sometimes when they didn't edit the plane because you could see the plane. Just a couple of little ones. There's only like twice I saw it. The other times it looks like the witch, but there's a couple times when you can see it's a plane.
They
But
try.
it's okay.
So
They did really well with it.
yeah, they did. So got the writing in the sky. So they're like, "Who's Dorothy?" And so they all run to try to see the wizard. But
Yep.
there's another person.
Another guard.
He's like, no one can see Oz. It's fine. It's fine.
Everything's fine. Go away. Shoo shoo. And they're like, if we can't see Oz, then I'm never gonna get home, and I'm never gonna get a heart. I'm never gonna get courage. And
Well, they try to see
Yeah.
Oz first, and then he's like, okay, hold up.
and then we get King of the Forest.
Yes.
I can't do it.
Like, the Lion gets, like, his whole song, like, pretty much by himself. Because he has,
Yeah.
like, a short snippet earlier.
Yeah,
But this is,
he
like,
gets
a long...
full song.
By himself. And I was like,
And it's so funny. Like
this is
this
a funny song.
All I remember is when I was in 4th grade, my friend Quishayla, she brought a blanket with her, and she was singing this song with them, and it was hilarious. It was great.
Yeah, it's pretty comical, this scene. I do like it.
Yeah.
And then...
He's singing about how he'll be the king of the forest when he gets his courage.
Yeah. I
And
love
then-
the last
it's
line.
funny. They the Tin Man breaks a pot for him, and it like breaks perfectly into a crown. It's like sitting lopsided on his.
So it's got, like, one ear, like,
Yeah.
half showing.
And then later, when the guard of the door to the wizard, he comes out, the crown gets knocked off his head, and I expect it to break, but it just kind of like bounces like a pen and
Plops.
just like bounces across the ground.
It's fine. It plops. So he says he can't see him,
Yep.
and they get sad.
Yep, and
They start
Dorothy
crying.
starts crying about her Aunt Em, how she'll never see her again, and she thinks she's sick and all this. And the guard is bawling, and it just looks like somebody poured water down his face.
I was like, oh my god, that's really excessive crying.
Because it
but
looks like
great.
it's coming from his eyebrows, not his eyes.
It's so much crying, it fills up his eyebrows too.
I guess so. His W eyebrows. And so he starts crying too because he had an Aunt Em once. And so he
Lets them in.
them in. So they go in, and the cowardly lion is like grabbing on his tail because he's so afraid. He keeps trying to turn around, and they won't let him turn around.
He pulls on his tail and he gets scared.
Yeah.
He's like, ooh! They're like, what? Somebody pulled on my tail.
That was you!
He's like, oh.
And so they get in there, and you see like this. It looks like the pipes of an organ, but
That's what I
without
thought.
the organ.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I first saw it too. It was like a pipe organ. Mm-hmm. Then like there's big floating head, green head, and all this red smoke and fire and everything.
It makes me think of what Marvin Martian would look like without his helmet on.
I can see that.
But yeah, so they go in there, and he's like, why are you here, and all this, or like, who are you? And Dorothy steps forward. I am Dorothy, the small and meek. I'm like, at 12 years old, I would not have known that word.
Yeah. I'd be like, okay, I'm just small.
I'm like, hi?
Hi, big floating head. And so they each have to step forward and ask, like, what they want.
Yep. And he says that he will help them, but he needs something in return first.
He needs the broomstick of the Wicked Witch of the West.
And the Tin Man's like, how are we gonna do that? We'd have to kill her! He's like, precisely!
He's like, well, you gotta go get it. And then I'll give you, I'll grant your requests.
Yep.
Then it goes to, like, the haunted forest.
Yep.
And they all have, like...
So, the lion has a net and a hammer. The Scarecrow has a walking stick that is like styrofoam because it keeps folding in half when he...
It's pretty... It's like... It's not a good walking stick at all.
He needs to pick a new stick. And he has a gun.
Yes.
And then the Tin Man has his axe and a big, huge wrench.
Yeah, like, that... Okay.
And they didn't arm Dorothy.
No. Well, let's arm the other three. It's fine.
I mean... Alright, whatever.
It's not gonna give weapons to a little girl, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, so then it jumps kind of to the Wicked Witch, and she sees them coming into her forest, because at this point, that's like her domain.
Yeah.
And so she sends the flying monkeys after them. She's like, make sure you get Dorothy and the little dog. I don't care what you do with the rest of them.
Yeah. I mentioned this to Kat earlier, that my mother could not watch this parts of the movie because of the flying monkeys, because she's afraid of them.
Yeah. My husband doesn't like them either.
Yeah, she thinks they're scary. Her sister scared her when she was little, and she has not changed ever since.
He just thinks they're creepy. He doesn't think they're scary. He just thinks they're creepy.
No, she doesn't like them, like, at all.
So, the monkeys come, and all of a sudden, nobody has any weapons.
Yeah, like the net, and, like, the big hammer, and, like, the walking stick, and the gun. And
yeah. The monkeys pick up the Tin Man, like, super high, and then drop him. Because he says he doesn't believe in spooks, and then all of a sudden he's getting picked up, and then he gets dropped. And then there's all kinds of chaos, and they're trying to fight. And the monkeys get Toto and Dorothy.
Yep, and they take her and Toto to the witch castle.
And then I love the next part with the Scarecrow. They come up to Scarecrow is like on the ground in pieces. Yep. And the Tin Man and Lion come up to him like, what happened to you? And they took my legs off and threw them over there, and they took my stomach out and threw it over there. And
Scarecrow's like, the Tin Man's, he's like, that's you all over.
Yeah, and it's so funny because the way I imagine it when I've read the book is that, like, literally he's, like, all over the place. He's, like, in the width of, 3 scarecrows.
Yeah, they kind of stomped on him.
Because his legs were, like, right in front of him. Mm-hmm. But it's funny because the way I imagine they would have filmed this scene is they would have dug a hole in the ground for him to stand in to stick his head out of, and then just laid all the stuff on the ground.
I think that's what they did.
That's just because you can see him because it looks like he's looking up instead of like laying down.
Yeah, I think that's probably what they did because there's platforms and everything they used. So that's probably what happened. So the witch is talking with Dorothy, and she's petting the dog actually, like really nicely. I was like, I'm like that. Toto probably loves that right now. He's like, oh, this is nice.
Because you got the long fingernails and you're just, like, massaging his head, and dogs love it when you rub their ears.
I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, good little dog, and puts him in the basket. I'm like, what the hell? That was me being nice.
Yeah. I say, these baskets that they've been putting the dog in, they're wicker baskets, so it's acceptable.
Yeah.
It's not, like, a plastic tub they're carrying around.
No.
It's a wicker basket, so.
Yeah, she's bedding him, puts him in, she's like,
I'll give you Toto back if you give me the ruby slippers.
She's like...
they're not slippers. I don't know why they call them slippers.
They keep calling them slippers, but, I mean...
They're like heels.
Yeah,
like, they're not huge heels. They're big heels to me, because if it's anything bigger than a normal shoe, then I can't walk in it. But
yeah, they're not like stilettos.
Yeah, no. They're just like regular shoes. I don't know.
I get you.
Pumps.
Yeah, I can see that.
Is that the right word?
Yeah, I think so. You can tell how girly we are. She's like, yeah, you can have them. Just don't hurt Toto.
Yeah.
And she tries to get them off when there's these sparks coming out.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I can't do it because you're still alive.
You have to be dead.
It's like, oh,
that's a bit morbid.
Yeah.
She cut her feet off. kill her.
I was like, oh no, kill her in her would be too morbid, but cut off her feet.
I mean, it might work. Or line her path to the exit in mud. Her feet get stuck in the mud. Shoes stay in the mud. Her feet come out of the shoes.
I mean, yeah, but I don't think that works in the movie.
Magical. You didn't want me to cut her feet off, so there's another option. Okay? Alright.
So the Wicked Witch turns over at, like, this cool, like, hourglass. I told Kat, I'm like, I want that hourglass.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Super cool. It's got red sand. It's got, like, these creatures on the side.
Like dragon-looking thing.
Yeah. She turns it over. She's like, you got this long.
And at this point, Toto books it out of the basket. Because they don't know how to lock these baskets.
No, he just keeps escaping from them.
Put a rock or something on the top of it and he can't get out.
I mean, logic, for God's sakes.
Yeah, something. But no, he didn't let him escape.
Nope, he just escapes and gets out of the castle. And
runs to the others and leads them to the castle.
Yeah. Like, right before that, Dorothy sees Andy M and Andy M calling for her in that crystal ball.
Dorothy, where are you?
And then, like, the witch, like, comes back, like, on there and starts teasing her.
Annie M.
I was like, that's mean. That's mean.
Yeah, it is really mean.
Yeah, so yeah, you're right. Like, Toto leads them back to the castle.
Yep. And, once again, Scarecrow comes up with the plan.
Yep.
Tin Man's just bawling his eyes out.
And there's the lion.
And then the lion's like, I'll be courageous for Dorothy. Just need you to do one thing. Tuck me out of it. What?
That was pretty good, actually.
I tried real hard.
That was really close, actually. Bravo.
Thanks. I'm getting real tired.
I know, so am I. So, they use disguises to get in, because the guards have, like, these certain outfits that they wear.
Are these supposed to be the Winkies?
I think so.
Okay.
They don't mention that. It's in the book.
We'll
But they don't mention that. But we'll talk about the book, because there's some noticeable differences.
Uh-huh.
So, they use disguises to get in, and Toto shows them,
where to go.
how to get, where Dorothy is, and they start breaking down the door.
And I do want to say that is probably one of the worst wood choppers I've ever seen. Because he cannot hit it in the same spot to save his life.
I was like, that's...
He hit it in like 5 different spots.
Yeah. It was... I'm like, well...
He tried.
He
was emotional.
He was emotional, and he did get the door open.
He did get the door open.
After a little bit, and... Yeah, they try to escape. They get Dorothy out, and they go down the stairs, and the door gets locked on them.
And so, again, Scarecrow has a great idea. Knocks the chandelier down on top of these, Winkies.
Yeah, we'll call them Winkies.
I'm gonna call them Winkies, because that's what they're Winkies.
Yeah. Her guards, as we can call them too, but Winkies work too.
And, so, they run around the big pile of fallen over Winkies under the chandelier, and then go down and run around this column and come back, and I don't know how they didn't see them. So they just come back, and when they come back in the main, like, little room there's one of them that, I don't know if the Winkies are supposed to be dead under the chandelier or unconscious, but you see one of them moving his arm around.
Flailing.
Like, you're doing a real good job there. Real good. Bravo, you're a great dead person.
So they actually get cornered again, like this room.
Yeah, in like a tower.
Yeah.
On the ramparts, I think was what they're called.
Something
on
like
the
that.
outside of the castle wall. Castle outer wall. And they were like running out on those, and there's people coming from one side and people coming from the other. So they're in one of the little towers. And the witch sticks her her vacuum cleaner. She sticks her vacuum cleaner up.
Hocus pocus reference there, people.
See?
Sticks in like this fire.
Yeah.
And lights the Scarecrow on fire.
And so Dorothy, coincidentally, there's a bucket of water.
Conveniently, why not?
Yeah. Right behind. And so she just throws it. And the Scarecrow happens to be standing right in front of the witch. So some of the water gets on the witch. And she's, I'm melting.
She melts.
Yeah.
It's pretty dramatic.
Oh, what a world.
Yeah, she melts. And, like, Toto, after she's all melted, and, like, there's, like, this fog. Like, Toto goes into, like,
He does, like, what my cat does when I have pizza.
starts, like, picking at it. It's like, hey.
He's like, what is this?
What's this? Is she gone? What's going on?
It's literally what my cat does.
Oh, Booth.
So then the Winkies and the monkeys are happy that the Wicked Witch is dead. And Dorothy and her companions are shocked that they're happy about it because they look like they'd be evil.
Yeah, but they're not. They're actually, like, really cool.
Yeah. So they let her go, like, yeah, you can have the broom, take it with you.
They're like, yeah, take it, go.
What do you think I was going to do with it? Stick it up in the air and wave it around like I just don't care.
Yes.
Something like that. That's what you're going to do with it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So they take the broomstick back to Oz, and they're like, oh, like, see, we have the broom of the Wicked Witch, you know. They're like, oh, we melted her.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, you what is it, liquid?
Liquidated her.
Liquidated her. I'm like, what?
Like, that's not the right term, but okay.
I was like, okay. And he's like, oh, come back up. I gotta think about that. They're like, no, you've had plenty of time.
And all this while they're arguing about whether or not that they should get their reward, Toto uncovers the real Wizard of Oz.
This curtain.
The humbug of Oz.
He, like, Toto pulls the curtain and reveals, like, this man standing there operating this thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. I lost it, that part. Like,
that part's
yes.
funny. And, so, because of that, he's like, I am a good man, but I'm not a great wizard. And so he grants, he gives the Scarecrow a diploma. The Tin Man gets a clock heart with, it looks like popcorn.
It ticks. So
Yeah. And then the Lion gets a badge of courage.
Yeah.
And Dorothy
I love it.
gets to go home. Almost.
It's like, I love how the line, she's like, I don't think there's anything in that black bag for me.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
he's like, well, I'm from Kansas too. So
From Omaha.
Omaha. So he's like, I'll take you back in my, like, balloon. And so, like, he plans, like, to leave. They're gonna leave in, like, this big green balloon. And it actually says Omaha on the outside of it.
It says State Fair, Omaha.
Yes.
Which apparently, I think that's where the Kansas State Fair is. So, they're in the basket, and Toto sees a cat. It's a Siamese cat. It's a really pretty cat.
Yeah, it was.
But he sees the cat, and so he goes and chases it. And so Dorothy jumps out and chases Toto. And you notice this.
I noticed this. So, the Scarecrow, the Lion, and the Tin Man are holding the strings of the balloon.
And because Toto and Dorothy aren't in it anymore,
They're not in
the
it.
weight is gone.
The weight's gone. And so what happens is that, you know, their parts, the Scarecrow and the Lion, they're trying to go help Dorothy with Toto. And the Tin Man's holding it. He's like, oh, go get that dog. But he starts unraveling the rope.
Yeah, and I think it was the actor that he was supposed to do that, but they accidentally caught him on camera. I don't think that they were supposed to see him doing that.
Yeah, he literally unraveled. I'm like, oh, you're bad.
So
he's like, you want to keep Dorothy here. That's what I thought when that first pointed out to me.
It could be that, but I think it's a camera mistake. That's what I think. I think it might be a camera mistake.
My mother actually pointed this out to me when she watched this part, because she doesn't like watching the monkeys, but she'll watch the rest of it. Yeah, she's like, watch that part. Because I made her watch it many times. Mm-hmm. She's like, watch that part. And I was like, oh, thanks, Mom.
So, Dorothy is upset because her only chance, what she thinks is her only chance to get home, is leaving. And, so Glinda shows up.
Pink bubble again.
Yep, big pink bubble. The fairy is back. Glinda shows up in her big pink bubble, and, she tells Dorothy that she's had the capability to go home the whole time. She just needed to learn her lesson.
Whole time. I'm like, that's kind of rude.
Right? That's what I was saying.
Like, you could have gone home this whole time.
So she says, you just tap your heels together three times.
times.
Say there's no place like home. Just think there's no place like home. So she does that, And she wakes up in Kansas.
She has to tell them bye first.
Oh, yeah, she tells them bye.
She tells them bye.
Bye. And I'll miss you most of all.
Yeah, she tells that to the Scarecrow, and the other two are just standing right there. I'm like, that's
There's
not very
something-
nice.
There's something that uses that.
It's Family Guy.
No, I've never seen Family Guy. There's something else that I've seen.
Family Guy references, though, and makes, like, a big thing about that, and they call Dorothy out on it. It's pretty funny.
That's what this is the same thing that happens. I don't remember what it is.
There's
I can
a lot.
imagine it. I can imagine it in my head.
I mean, there's a lot of things that reference Wizard of Oz, so...
Yeah. But, so, she says goodbye to him and says she'll miss...
The Scarecrow most of all.
Which
Like,
I can understand why. That was the first one she met.
That's true.
And so, then she does her top and the heels together, and...
There's no place like home.
Yep, and then
There's
she
no
gets
place
back
like
up in
home.
Kansas, and Aunt Em and Uncle Henry are there, and she's trying to tell them about Oz and all this and that.
And, like, it's, in the movie, it's a dream
Yeah.
that she had.
Yeah.
She's trying to tell them about it. And she's like, you, and you, and you, and you were there.
Yeah.
Because Professor Marvel was
Yeah.
outside the window.
Yeah.
Because he came to check on Dorothy.
Yep, and that's the end.
When there's no place like home.
Yep. That's it.
It's like the end. Yay!
The end.
I literally said, yay!
Yep. So, music. I didn't get the information about the guy that composed the singing music. I forgot. But I did write down about a couple things about the other two. The music, the guy that wrote the music with words in it, the vocal music, his name is Harold Arlen. He was born in 1905, passed away in 1986, and he did win an Oscar for this film, for Somewhere Over the Rainbow. He's known for Sky Captain and The World of Tomorrow, LA Confidential, and 9. All of those came out after his death, and
That's true.
there's even still movies and TV shows today that are using stuff that he's composed.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Then it was pretty much the exact same information for E.Y. Harburg, who did the lyrics. He was born in 1986, passed away in 1896 is when he was born, and he passed away in 1981. But pretty much all the information is the same, and there's still people using his music as well.
I mean, this music from this movie has pretty much stand the test of time.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie is almost 80 years old.
Yep.
And people still recognize Over the Rainbow.
Uh-huh.
We're off to see the wizard.
Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead.
Ding Dong Witch is dead. If I only had a brain.
Yep.
Heart. Nerve.
The nerve.
The nerve. I mean, they're very recognizable songs. I mean...
Yeah. So, comparison.
So the book. We both
Yeah.
read the book, actually.
I finished it 2 days ago.
Yes, I finished it today. This Oz, it actually starts, the Oz, it's an entire series, actually. L. Frank Baum wrote, like, God, how many books did he write? There was like 16 books, I think.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
And this is the first one.
Uh-huh.
This is The Wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Yep.
This
I
is-
read the abridged.
She read the abridged, and I read the unabridged. So we have a little differences there.
Yeah. One major thing that I remember is that the shoes are silver.
The shoes
not
are
red.
silver in the book and not red. I think they changed it just to show it more on the screen.
And also, it's a little bit more brutal.
There's a lot more, like, the lion and the Tin Man, they kill, like, a lot of
The Scarecrow
creatures.
kills some stuff too.
Yeah. There's a lot
Scarecrow
of...
kills some crows.
That's
Tin
right,
Man
he
kills
does.
some wolves.
And the lion kills, like, this huge spider thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, and, like, these different creatures, too, were killed in the book by these three.
And then Glinda didn't save them from the poppy flowers. It was the mice.
It was the mice.
There was some mice that saved them. The flying monkeys were under the power of a golden hat.
Yeah, it was a
You
golden
had to
cap.
Say Kooky, Kiki,
You had
Kuka,
to,
something
yeah,
like that.
you had to do, like, this different spell on each foot.
And then stand on both feet.
Yeah. And then they were only allowed to use it 3 times.
Yeah,
and
3 times per person. And then there was a porcelain place, and Dorothy wanted to take one of the porcelain things home.
And
like,
she's like,
no, I want to be free, don't take me!
It was like a little princess. She's like, here is where I can move around and everything, but once we leave here, we're frozen.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to live my life like that. She's like, and I want to be happy. So Dorothy doesn't do that.
Yep.
What else? How the wizard appears to each of them is different too, because it appears to each of them a different form.
One is a big head, one is a giant beast, one is a fireball,
and then a lovely lady.
Yeah, and a lovely lady.
So there's 4 different things that he uses. The wizard uses to fake
instead of the Martian head. He doesn't use that the whole time.
Yes. With Glinda, it says in the movie that she is the good witch of the north, but that's not true in the book. She's actually the witch of the south. You meet the good witch of the north in the very beginning of the book when Dorothy lands.
Yeah.
So they just switched it.
Yeah, they condensed it into one character
instead of just 2.
The
Wicked Witch of the West in the book
she's not a person, she's like a creature.
Yeah, she's got like 1 eye. I noticed that. And she's not very smart.
No.
Like at all. And like Margaret Hamilton's Wicked Witch of the West is like it's pretty smart.
Yeah.
And then the Wicked Witch also. This mentions this in the book, not in the movie, that she has bees that she controls, and crows and wolves. Yeah.
Yeah. She controls those animals. She sends them after them one at a time.
And with the Munchkins, I was thinking about this as we were watching it. There's 4 like different like states in Oz, the country. So there's the Munchkin land. There is the Quadling land.
Yep.
Then like the Winkies.
Yep.
And what was the 4th one?
Emerald.
Yes, Emerald City.
Yep.
Because
Emerald City isn't actually emerald. It's they have to wear these glasses when they go in there.
They're strapped to their face.
So they're like super tight, like the glasses that you wear in lab, in a lab. They're like that. Only it turns everything emerald. So like pretty much everything is white.
Everything's white. But the wizard forced everyone to wear green glasses, so it looks like it's emerald.
Yeah.
And which each little state has a different color. So Emerald City's green. The Munchkins, theirs was actually blue.
Yeah.
And the Winkies had yellow, and the Quadlings had red.
Yep.
I noticed that. And if you've read the book Wicked, it mentions those also.
Yeah. So, musical? I've only seen it once. It was a year or 2 ago.
So I watched the musical first in high school. Actually, I was going into high school. It was the high school had put on the production of Wizard of Oz. And then I saw the actual Broadway touring of Wizard of Oz and what they added. So in the movie, they originally had 2 extra songs. It was the Jitterbug and a reprise of Over the Rainbow. And in the musical, they just added those back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do remember. I remember both of those.
Yeah, because
the one I saw was like a dinner theater, so it was really cool. The actors and actresses were our servers.
Oh, cool.
We had Dorothy as our server.
Nice. That's
cool. She was really nice, and she did a really good job.
Yeah, because I just remember that was a tour that came through our town, so I loved it.
And the other thing that I remember, it doesn't really have anything to do with the comparison. I just remember that the woman who played the Wicked Witch, Toto was actually her dog. But no, that's not in the one that I watched.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? No, it's not.
No, not the movie. The play that I watched.
Oh, okay.
The lady that played the Wicked Witch, Toto, was actually her dog. But she had to have, so like anytime Toto had to come on, he wasn't on very often because he wouldn't follow Dorothy around. Oh. He had a hard time following Dorothy around.
How
so
cute.
He only came on every now and then. It was really funny.
I mean, also, we mention with the book, this is not even in like the movie at all. There's the Hammerheads.
Oh, yeah.
There's these people, they were guarding like the edge of the Quadlink area. and they had like these really long necks, and they would just like stretch their necks out and hit people. They were called hammerheads. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. So there was a TV show. It was like a year ago. It was only one season. It's called Emerald City. And the main thing, there's a couple things I remember. The scarecrow, it was a man, not a scarecrow. Like, nothing was right. But the scarecrow was a man, and he was being punished, so he was hung up on a cross type thing, well, like a stick.
Mm-hmm.
And Dorothy rescued him.
Mm-hmm.
And then she traveled with him. She didn't meet the lion or the Tin Man. My guess is that they were going to do those in later seasons, and they just never got to it because it was canceled after one season. They tried really hard to be Game of Thrones. Like, really hard. Because this was in the peak of Game of Thrones, doing so well. And so they tried really hard to do it, and it just didn't work. And then also, the guy that was playing the wizard, well, not the guy that was playing him, the Wizard of Oz was actually evil.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I remember is that they made it to where Dorothy was born in Oz, and her mother sent her back to Kansas.
I've heard about that.
That's the only things that I really remember, because it wasn't a great show, so I didn't watch it again.
Yeah. Also, we can mention just a little bit. We mentioned the two other musicals.
Oh, Wicked.
Wicked, which is about the Wicked Witch of the West, her side of the story.
Uh-huh.
It does mention that. It does show a little bit of, like, at the very end, like, with Dorothy and how, she got melted. There's that. And then there's also The Wiz, which is pretty much Wizard of Oz, just a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the movie The Great and Powerful Oz. I haven't seen it.
Oz the Great and Powerful. I actually watched it, because Wizard of Oz fan here. So it's pretty much Oz's story of how he became the Wizard of Oz. So he was pretty much just like a trickster.
That's what I figured. I just didn't didn't think it was interesting.
And explained
the guy that they picked to play Oz.
It explained how it's different, how they made the Wicked Witch of the West. Yeah. Like, she wasn't green before. She turned green.
That's how it is in Once Upon a Time. She wasn't green before. She was jealous because in Once Upon a Time, they make her the sister of the evil queen from Snow White. Wow. And she's jealous of the evil queen.
I think it was something to do with Glinda. I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I've seen Oz the Great and Powerful.
I think in that story, in Oz the Great and Powerful, because I do know the premise of that, I think it is Glinda she's jealous of, and that's why she turns green. But in Once Upon a Time, she's jealous of her sister, who is, they connect it by making her sister the evil queen from Snow White.
That's true. With what I really liked about Oz the Great and Powerful, they used kind of like the same thing of Wizard of Oz. So it started out with the black and white and like the brownish colors, and then, but it was like, how do I explain? Full screen. And then when it started going to the color, it widened out into the widescreen, and I thought that was one of like the coolest things.
That's cool.
Ever. I was like, mind blown. So yeah.
I think that's about it. Everything you compare it to.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, we can't hit everything because we're already at an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, I know. We're trying here. So, some trivia. There's a lot of trivia for Wizard of Oz. I try to narrow it down to like some. We talked about some already. So, the person who played the Wizard of Oz in the movie, Frank Morgan, his coat, they went looking for like a coat that was kind of like older, looked kind of worn out, so they went to like this like thrift store and they found this coat. So when he was looking one day through his coat, he pulled out one of the pockets, and it said in the pocket lining, L. Frank Baum, who was the author of The Wizard of Oz. And so they called his widow, Baum's widow, and she's like, yeah, that's his coat. And the tailor, too, and they confirmed it. And so after the movie, they gave the coat to her.
That's awesome.
I thought that was really cool. I was like, oh, that's awesome. So, and then another one talking about, so the character Dorothy is actually named after his niece, Dorothy Gage, who was, technically it was his wife's sister's child. And so she died when she was a baby. She was only like 5 months old. So to honor her, he named his character because he was writing Wizard of Oz. And so he named her Dorothy.
Yeah.
Yep, there's like this whole, even like at her grave, they like redid her grave. It's a memorial now, which is cool. Right Over the Rainbow was almost cut from the movie because they thought it was too long. They're making the Kansas scene too long, but they fought for it and it stayed.
Good thing they did fight
It
for
stayed, and guess what? It won an Oscar. So, yeah. Got a couple more. Yes. So, the tornado that you see is actually just this 35-foot long muslin stocking.
Huh.
That they spun around among a miniature. So, it's just a big stocking. And then the last one. So, when you first meet the Wicked Witch of the West, and she's about ready to leave, you notice this red smoke coming up. And it's too early.
Yeah.
That was the first scene. That was the first take they did of that one. And the second take, her cape got caught in the platform, and there was fire with it too.
Oh,
and so she got second and third degree burns.
Oh, I
She
remember
did.
reading about that.
She did. And so, because there was copper in her makeup, so they had to use the first take.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it shows in the film that the smoke's coming up early. So, yeah.
And then the one I had, besides the ones we already talked about, was the original actor for the Tin Man was allergic to the costume, like the paint that they used.
It was aluminum dusting instead of...
They had to get another actor to do it.
Yes.
And they changed they didn't use the dusting as much. They used a little bit less of it.
They used
that
different
way
makeup,
there wouldn't be a reaction just in case.
Yeah, he literally, it was Buddy Epson first. He was the original Tin Man, but then he had that allergic reaction. He literally could not breathe.
Yeah.
Because of the dust.
Yep.
So they had to switch.
Yep.
And then that's how you get your other actor in there.
Yep. So, where it has been on the list before and where it's at right now. As of 2010, it was number 122. In 2012, it was number 149. In 2014, it was number 191. In 2016, it was number 230. And as of today, when we are recording, it is number 233.
So it dropped like one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So previously, number 232, which is where it was on our list, 2010 was Infernal Affairs, which we watched previously.
Yep.
2012 list was The Wrestler from 2008. The 2014 list, The Big Sleep from 1946.
I've heard of that one.
The 2016 list, Prisoners from 2013, which I think is coming up for us.
It's on our list, yep.
And then, as of today when we are recording, A Wednesday from 2008.
That's on our list too.
Yep.
That is a Hindi film, if I remember correctly.
Okay. So, favorite line?
I have a lot of favorite lines.
My favorite one,
Go.
of all time forever, every
Go.
time I watch this movie, I love this line. I crack up at it every friggin' time.
Go.
Is people come and go so quickly here. Literally every time that line makes me laugh. I know it's coming. I know why she says it. I just think it's hilarious every time.
I mean, there's just so many amazing lines in this film. I always have a hard time I wrote down with, how many did I write down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I wrote down 6 lines.
Yeah, I was writing down a lot and then I stopped. I was like, I just can't write anymore. There's too many.
There's so many lines. I mean, okay. Of course, there's the classic, I'll get you my pretty. Need a little dog too. There's no you screaming at a time like this. No one can hear you. And then he starts yelling help.
Well, that's a horse of a different color. Come on in.
Let's see. Probably my 2 top favorite lines, I'm going to have to say, they're actually both by The Wizard of Oz. So, a heart is not judged by how much you love by how much you are loved by others. And, of course, his line when he gets found out. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
That was funny.
So what do you think, Kat? I mean, this movie's chock full of lines.
I don't know, I don't like parting with my people come and go so quickly here. I just love that line. Like, literally, every time I watch it, that line makes me crack up. Like, all the other lines, they're good, I know they're coming, and sometimes they make me laugh, but that one, every time, it gets me, even though I know it's coming.
And that's how I am with the pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. That's how I am with that line. That one always cracks me up, too. We're at a standstill here. I mean, this is tough.
Oh, why don't we do, coming to think of it, 14 Weeks wouldn't be too bad. When the lion's falling asleep. I wrote that one down too.
That one's okay. It's not my favorite.
I just like the way he says it.
The lion's a mess.
Yeah.
Gosh, Kat, this is tough. Unless you want to put down both of them.
Are you a good witch or a bad witch? That's a good one. I have that one written down too.
Unless you want to write down both lines.
Nope, one.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. Yay! Well, thank you, Kat.
I mean, I could change it.
Oh, I know.
I'm sure I won't.
So
right.
next time I'll concede a line.
Whatever.
That works.
I'm just too tired to argue over it and sit there any longer. Our rating. Mine's already in there. On IMDb, so.
So
what's
what is
yours?
it? You gotta say it, too.
Mine is a 9.
Why is it a 9? And not a 10?
I mean, I've pointed out a few things in there that should be different or covered up different.
Yeah.
And I know that it's like almost 80 years old, but the makeup, I'm really picky about makeup. And some of the makeup is not that great. Like, some of it's amazing, but then other ones I'm like, you're close, but you're not perfect to me, so.
Well, then again, to me, I remember that it's almost an 80-year-old film. So, me, since it's my favorite film of all time, and I hold this up to I love this film. So I give it a 10. 10 out of 10 stars.
That's what I figured.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I love it. So it gets a 10.
Yeah.
I think it's probably the only film that I'll give a 10. But I can't say yet. We still have a lot more films to go, but I think this one will probably, maybe one of my very few 10s.
Alright. So, our next film is Groundhog Day from 1993.
Bill Murray film.
Yep. If you pay for premium, you will get uncut episodes, early release of the episodes, which they'll come out on Monday instead of Friday, and then also you'll get a special monthly episode. Once every month we'll put something out, like our ideas for next month, for this month, for September. We picked 4 of our least favorite movies, the ones we don't ever want to watch again.
Nice.
And you vote on either Facebook or Twitter to make us watch one of them, and we'll review it in a little 30 to 45 minute episode there for you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of dreading that, but I just hope it's not one of mine.
Yeah.
I'm kind of voting for Cat's least favorites at this point.
Yeah. And that is at $1 a month, and then for $5 a month, you will get all of those, plus be able to be in your choice of a movie for every 50 movies, as long as you get there in time.
Yeah.
Hopefully you get there in time. But you'll get to join us for up to 5 movies if you pay $5 a month. And like I said, our first special episode for this month of September will be based on your votes. The choices for the movies that one of us hates are Frozen, The Love Guru, It the Original, and Howard the Duck. So make sure you vote on Twitter or Facebook for that. And then we're still running our contest. One person out of every 10 that leaves a positive written review will be randomly selected to join us for a movie of their choice. So get to leaving reviews.
Yes, they help us, so please.
Yes. And where to find us?
So you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Cat and Jess Talk the Best. Our email is catandjesstalkthebest250@gmail, and our website is catandjesstalkthebest.podbean.com.
Yep. And you can find the show pretty much everywhere now. Actually, yeah. Everywhere.
Pretty much.
iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher. And also every episode forever will be on Podbean. So if you ever feel like you want to go back and listen to the first one and we're on like number 198, you can just
Go back
head
and
on
listen.
back to Podbean and listen. And our opening music is by Audio Binger. So any music we ever have is by him. You can find him Facebook, YouTube, and he has a website, audiobinger.net.
Yeah, check him out. She has a porg.
I do have a porg. He's so cute.